OpTic Chicago have looked like a mid-table team at different parts of this season, but they've finally made the adjustments needed to win. Going into champs, Scump, Formal, Dashy, and Envoy are the dark horses who could go all the way. Let's take a look at why, presented by USAA Insurance. With a record of 26-18, they've won 59.1% of their series over the Cold War calendar, and their major results have left them in 4th place overall. Starting off in the winners bracket, OpTic have every chance of making a run to the grand final. So let's break down the Green Wall's strengths and weaknesses heading into the biggest tournament of the year. For starters, OpTic Chicago have overcome a huge mental block as of late, defeating the likes of Atlanta FaZe.
You see Scump starting to inch his way forward. Gonna be a big one-on-one here. BZ hit down to 60, hit down to 30. The pinch is in, the win is in, and finally OpTic, they get their win in the series. They take a search and destroy, and you can see the boys are fired up about that one.
And most recently, Dallas Empire at the Stage 5 Major.
All 4 sides, every point of the compass has an OpTic player on it, and this is it. The last chance, you gotta go, and Scump's gonna hold him back. He's gonna find the kills, a few more seconds. No one's there to do it. The pass are down. It is over. It is over.
These massive wins will give OpTic a huge amount of belief going into champs. They can not only hang with the top teams, they can actually outperform them. We've spoken a lot over this year about how OpTic have mental blocks against teams. They struggle to believe that they can beat a side if they haven't done it in a while. They've done it to these two big teams, and any person who has ever competed at anything at any level will tell you how huge it is to have that mental block erased and gone. Another strength of OpTic's is their map pool, which they have been working on diligently. Their hardpoint game is as strong as ever, with dominant performances on Moscow and Raid. As long as they can avoid a Miami search and destroy and garrison control, then they stand a good chance at taking the crown. But that's not to say that they can't step up on these maps when push comes to shove. They do have a really good map pool here. They've been working on it, trying to slip a couple into series where they've not felt comfortable on them previously, and they have figured them out. So good on them for that, and that definitely gives them a rounded edge, especially if I'm expecting them to get to a best of 9 final. You're going to need a good map pool. OpTic don't need to do anything fancy. It comes down to respecting the talent of their opponents and understanding that playing as a cohesive unit will win you games. When it all comes together for this OpTic side, it is a terrifying sight to behold. And if they can continue to perform as they have in recent weeks, the 7 other teams should be very worried. Whether it be spawn play and trades in Hardpoint, first bloods and tighter setups in the S&D, or just stacking the damn point in Control, OpTic have not looked better at any point throughout the rest of this season, and what a time to be ready for it when we go to champs. OpTic's star player is, of course, Scump. The king is positive across the board and has shown, especially in S&D, with a 1.15 KD. While he hasn't performed consistently well throughout the season, his recent run of form has worked wonders for OpTic. And as seen in the past, an in-form Scump is very often the key to success. OpTic will start off champs against New York subliners, and if they can win, they will meet Atlanta FaZe. With subliners on a massive decline and FaZe also experiencing some issues, a win against these two teams is more than likely with the form OpTic are currently in. The big worry for me is that on the opposite side of that bracket is Rocker, Empire, and Ultra. They will meet one of those teams in winners finals, and OpTic need to hope that it isn't Ultra. But why? Well, let's break down some of their weaknesses. Toronto Ultra have gotten the better of OpTic Chicago in their last 4 meetings, and this has largely been down to Ultra winning 6 out of 7 S&Ds.
Double chow from up top now possible, less than 30 seconds on the bomb. Cammy dips his toe into the fight. Takes more than a toe now as he gets involved. CleanX finds another, and that's it. Ultra have done it! Another clinical round, another insane performance, and Express was their playground. They have had their way with OpTic in this game 5.
To beat Ultra, they must shut down Insight, who is rocking a monstrous 1.41 KD in Search and a 1.13 in Control. Aside from their struggles against Toronto, another major weakness of OpTic is their money hills. The top sides in the league dominate the money hills in Hardpoint, and this is something that OpTic have struggled to do against the better teams. There's plenty of examples of this. Toronto at Major 5, LA Thieves in Stage 5 groups, when they lost to Dallas Empire at Major 4. I could go on and on. There's lots of examples here of when OpTic have just completely given up a money hill and not managed to share the points. If they can improve their money hills, there is just one more weakness holding OpTic Chicago back. And that, surprisingly, is Formal. In Stage 5, he had a 1.1 KD in control, and OpTic's record was 7-2. But his other game modes were just not good enough, with the team just scraping positive records. If OpTic Chicago can utilize their strengths and work on their weaknesses, there is no reason why they will not go on to beat the big dogs and bring home that champs trophy for the Green Wall.